Somewhere beyond the known stars, from the frequency where questions become music, prepare yourselves for the host of this transmission, the cosmic band leader, the dangerous question asker, Mexico Johnson.
Yo, yo. What up, though? It's your boy, Big Mexico, back up in this thing one more game. Let's make it happen here tonight. This is Let's Agree to Disagree Tonight. And I got another show for you guys. We're going to make it happen here. Alrighty. Just making sure I got everything lined up and ready to go. Here we go. All right, man. How y'all doing tonight, man? What we about to get into here? Let's see. I ain't got too much for y'all tonight. We're gonna keep it smooth. We're gonna keep it simple, and then we're gonna get up out of here, man. I think we're just gonna keep it simple, keep it short. I got a little bit of a question that we're going to explore tonight, and then we're going to get up out of here. I ain't got plans to stay on for too long. Because to keep it honest with y'all, I ain't really had that much that I want to talk about tonight. I did find one thing that we're going to pick at, but I don't know. Honest part of me is like, I don't even know if I really feel like talking too much tonight. But we here. We're going to make it happen. We're going to do a show. So to get us started here, I want to say greetings and welcome to all of the travelers across the universe tuned in with us tonight. Again, I'm Mexico Johnson, a.k.a. Mexico Coast to Coast, broadcasting vibrations from the New Organized World. And this is a place where we interview the future. We don't argue with it. Now, today, or rather this week's question, we're going to bring you right up here. Fired. Are we looking at a breakdown, or are we looking at new leverage entering the system here? Let's think about it for a second. There's been a new pattern this week. Reports of warehouses being set on fire and a line attached to it. All you had to do was pay us a living wage. Now, I'm not here to justify that, but I am interested in what it points to, because when something like that happens, we usually treat it as an isolated event. But what if it's not? What if it's pressure? What if it's a system breaking down because the people inside it don't feel like they have any leverage left? So tonight we are sitting with that truth. Hey, my girl Shay, what up though? I see you, Shay. Appreciate you coming through. Thank you for tuning in. We about to have a nice little show here again. We just talking about some of the things that's going on in the world, where we see all of these warehouses setting on fire, and what's really going on with that. Again, the workers sitting around saying, well, all you had to do is pay us a livable wage. Well, I do got some sources here we're going to refer to. If I could bring in the TV for the evening. Let's see here. I still don't got CC set up to do this for me just yet. I got some more work to do to get there. Till then, I can do it myself. All right. And then let me set the TV to the right TV channel. Let's see here. Just to start off with this thing, I've been getting into this more, where I think it's fun to look at the things that have popped up on my Twitter over the last week. Starting off with this shot at Kanye going from happy to happy to yay again. The caption being, when you're enjoying yourself and you suddenly remember that you need to get rich. Oh yeah, I'm working on it. We got some work to do there. But other than all the Kanye stuff here, I wanted to point to some of the stuff where these guys been setting these warehouses on fire. So look at here. The first one happened and it looks like burned down the Kimberly Clark warehouse and wiped out $500 million in goods, declaring all you had to do was pay us enough to live. And if we take a closer look here, this guy is actually doing a report on what the people who work at this company actually make here. Let's take a quick look at this.
If you're not going to pay us enough to live or afford to live, at least pay us enough not to do this. All you had to do was pay us enough to live. All you had to do was pay us enough to... There goes your inventory.
This is video uploaded by Shamal Abdul Karim, a 29-year-old resident of Ontario, California, burning down the Kimberly Clark inventory, which cost $500 million in damage and lost inventory, and at least a couple $100 million more to rebuild it back up. And I find this story extraordinarily fascinating for a number of reasons. One, the point he's making, all you had to do was pay us enough to live. So I looked up what Kimberly Clark pays its warehouse workers. It's about $23, $24 an hour, about $46,000, $47,000 a year. And then I compared that to what it costs to live in Ontario, California. And for one person, it costs about $67,000 a year to live, just to basically get by. So Kimberly Clark is paying its employees $20,000 less per year and expects them to get by on that salary. And then I thought, well, hold on, are they making enough money? And I looked up their financial statements, and on $20 billion revenue, they're making about $2.55 billion in profit, in net profit, every single year. So I divided that by the number of employees that Kimberly Clark has, which is about 38,000, and I thought, okay, if they were to pay their employees an extra $20,000 a year, get them to a place where they could afford to work where they live, get them to $67,000 a year, what would that cost? Well, it would cost them about $750 million. They would still have nearly $2 billion in profits every single year and have every employee get enough money to live where they work. Right now in the United States, 60...
He keeps going there, but man, I think that point lands for me. He said they made enough money in profits last year that they could raise everybody up to a living standard and still keep $2 billion in profits. What they choose to do. They chose to keep all the profits for themselves and leave the workers struggling. And the workers said, well, shoot, what we got to lose then, If I'm going to sit here and struggle while you sit back and take all the profits, shoot. All you had to do was pay us enough to not set the warehouse on fire. I think that's a new standard arrangement. I think we are currently in the process of rewriting the rules of the future right now. And man, if that's the new way we want to calculate this thing, I think that's a good baseline to start with, instead of thinking about what's a good livable wage or what's a good metric to be able to decide like where the poverty line actually sits at or things like that. Like we don't got to talk about, the poverty line or a livable wage line. I think the new line we got to talk about now is how much do it cost us to not set this thing on fire line. Let's talk about that one now. I think that's the new exciting revelation that's coming out of this. How much do it cost us to not really set this thing on fire then? Now, I will say this for clarity here. As I've been scrolling through, there have been like a couple mixed reports where people have been taking like these videos of like warehouses that were set on fire like over a week ago before this thing started, and, kind of mixing in these different reports of older warehouse fires with this like current movement that's emerging. So just be careful there. We don't want to mix up old warehouse fires with, warehouse fires that's actually happening because of this movement we're talking about. But here's a tweet I was looking at on April 11th saying we're up to 6 warehouses set on fire now across the country. And I feel like it's being severely underreported. Now, this was on April 11th. I don't have the official numbers here, but I can say like at that time, I hadn't heard of 6 individual warehouses that had been set on fire. But maybe, like they said, it's being underreported. Maybe it's something that the mainstream is trying to keep out of the news at this time. But like here's another confirmed one. This is one from April 10th. This time it's a huge fire at a warehouse in Queens, New York. If we keep going here, I did get a chance to retweet a couple more of these over the week. Shout out to the astronauts who made it home from the Artemis 2 mission. Here's another one, this time in Bakersfield, California. Big clouds of smoke coming out of that warehouse. Here's another one, this time out of Wayne County, Ohio. It's a lumber pallet factory set on fire now. And again, this all comes back to people just feeling like we're not being paid enough to live. Here's an interesting tweet already doubling down on just how dire the situation is. Do you understand what AI is actually doing to the economy? 55,000 AI layoffs in 2025, 61,000 already in 2026. That is staggering in itself. 55,000 all of 2025. And then here we are just 4 months in, not even a whole 4 months into 2026. And that number is already topped 61,000 job layoffs. And we're talking about layoffs that these jobs aren't coming back. The AI automation that is taking these jobs away, like this is not going to be undone anytime soon. These companies are not going to unautomate at any point. So when we're looking at this thing and it's saying 61,000 jobs lost, those are jobs that are gone. Those are jobs that are never coming back. Companies are firing humans to pay for AI, then using AI to fire more humans, and then wondering why no one can afford their products. And this is another interesting economic point now, because I've been hearing this thing where it's like we are entering what they're calling like an economic death spiral because of this pattern where companies are automating and automation is pushing workers out. And when workers get pushed out, they don't have money to pay for things anymore. And when people don't have money to pay for things, these companies with all these great automated products that they can sell at this amazing profit, well, they run out of customers to sell to. The question isn't whether AI will take your job, it's whether there'll be enough jobs left to keep the economy running at all. What happens when we don't have enough jobs to keep the economy running? Let's see. Oh, this post here highlights another interesting point, because there was that report of Molotov cocktail being thrown at Sam Altman's house. They taking that pressure directly to the top of the chain too, not just setting warehouses on fire, but we got our eyes on these CEOs too. What y'all up to? What's good with y'all? How you like these Molotov cocktails? I'm not saying you should do that. I'm not saying that you should do that. I'm simply saying that you can do that. And as far as, the working agreement between workers and employers has been deteriorating, I do think this is a moment where we get to look at ourselves. And again, if I go back to the main question here, are we seeing a breakdown in the system, or are we seeing for the first time a new form of leverage in the system, where the power then is being shifted back into the hands of the people, back into the hands of the people who can set things on fire? Maybe that's why I always laugh when people want to get all political and talk about voting rights and, participating in the process and doing your duty as a citizen. But I mean, look at where we are, man. Like, we're not talking about voting to make things better for humans, or we're not talking about electing a politician who's going to raise the minimum wage. We just straight up like, all right, well, if y'all don't want to pay us more, we set this motherfucker on fire. How about that? Vote for that. Vote for some more fire trucks. I'm dropping these codes in the chat here, y'all. I want y'all to take note. I'm dropping codes in the chat here. And what do these codes do? That would be a good question for someone to ask. What do these codes do? Well, before we shift gears here, I do want to take a moment to announce that I did launch our first landing page for Let's Agree to Disagree Tonight. I'll pull it up here so I can actually show it on the air. And on this landing page is where you can submit your email to join our email list. Here, I got the page up here. I'm going to pull it up on the TV for y'all to see. So here I got up on the screen. This is our Let's Agree to Disagree Tonight landing page. And when you go to this page, you will see here like it's got links to all my socials. So you can see what I got going on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and X side of the game. There are maybe a couple more links I might add to this eventually. But this is what's happening right now for real. Let's Agree to Disagree Tonight, a space to think about the future without the noise. Because it do get pretty noisy out there when you're trying to sift through these kind of conversations with the public. But I like having this space here where we can slow things down and really think about it. You can give me an email address here, and that'll add you to our email list. And again, I'm just going to use that as a place to keep you guys updated with what's going on and what you can expect to come next. And I hope to open up some interesting opportunities there for y'all to be able to donate and support the cause here. I do want to show this off real quick though. I made my first game, and this game is available on the website now. It's a game that I call Signal Runner. And Signal Runner is a cool little simple game where you pilot a little UFO, and the UFO is dodging asteroids and things in the middle of deep space. And there's some ways that you can score multipliers, and you can go for a high score. We got power-ups and special weapons and secondary enemies that you can fight against. And look, there's an unlimited ammo power-up right there. And once you get the unlimited ammo power-up, you see you can actually use a spread gun here. So I started this here because I needed this. This was like my little game that I would play when I ask my agent to do more complex tasks, and it takes them a few moments to complete the task. Instead of just sitting there twiddling my thumbs, I made myself a fun little desktop game that I can play to help burn the time. I'm sharing this with the audience here at Let's Agree to Disagree Tonight, though, because I have turned this into an artifact for the show. And in this artifact, there are all kinds of embedded secrets and little fun things that real fans of the show will have some fun taking some time to discover. Everybody else, if you just casually, blowing through and you're not really paying attention, or you don't really care about what's happening here, you could spend about 30 seconds playing Signal Runner and then move on to the next thing, and that's all good and fine. But for the people who are interested in the actual world building that we've put together here, there are some interesting secrets to uncover in the world of Signal Runner. So that's the game there. I made it to the first boss battle. You see here, for every 5,000 points, you make it to another boss battle. That's fun, y'all. That's Signal Runner. That's my game I made for y'all. That's the first official game made by your boy Mexico Johnson for the Let's Agree to Disagree Tonight crowd. So after you head over to the link to join our email list, you can play Signal Runner down below it. If you keep scrolling down this page too, it do take you to the most recent episode we shot here. So right now it's got episode 14 up there. After we finish this show tonight, that's going to get updated to show episode 15 there as well. All right. So the link to my email list, that's going to be in the description. Y'all can check that out. And join your boy, because we still growing here. We still trying to take this thing and make it go bigger and better, and see what else we can do with it. And we approaching here that what's going to be the second half of 2026. Man, the first half is quickly approaching its conclusion. Here we are halfway through April. We got just another about 2 months before we halfway through the year. This thing going quick. I'm gonna go ahead and light my joint. Think about calling this segment of the show the signal drift. Because I feel like, we've already established where the signal is for the evening and what we're talking about and what it feel like. And then this is where we're going, slow things down and let things drift a little bit. As I light my joint here. That's what I'm thinking that we're going to name this segment. How y'all feel about that? The signal drift. Shoot. I hope the colors look better too. I did take some time to adjust my color on screen. I feel like last week I was looking kind of like too pale and too ghostly. I had to look a little bit more human. I had to look a little more brown. This is interesting. Okay, so we talked about the main question. We talked about people setting stuff on fire. Look, it's simple if we want to just cut to the chase here. People are not being paid enough, and there is more than enough money to go around. And if we want to stop warehouses getting set on fire, we got to spread that money around a little bit better, y'all. That's all that really come down to. Go back to the main here. Let me see. I did want to bring something to y'all's attention tonight. Check this out. I'm back here on my Twitter page. And there's all kinds of stuff I looked at on Twitter over the past week. But what I'm most interested in is what I actually saw right before I came in to get this show popping tonight. Check out what this say, y'all. 32 years ago. Now, I'm a day late for this now. I'm technically here on April 16th. Excuse me. And this post is talking about something that happened on April 15th. But still, just a day later, I think that's still something relevant to talk about here on Let's Agree to Disagree Tonight. The real inspiration for this show, the real DNA for Let's Agree to Disagree Tonight comes from a little show that was born 32 years ago. On April 15th, 1994, a show called Space Ghosts Coast to Coast. I'll play the theme song here for y'all. Look at that boy, Space Ghost. You see how he fade in at the beginning? I'll be trying to be like Space Ghost with a little fade in at the beginning too. But man, I was tripping when I saw that in my feed. Like, damn, 32 years ago. Because I myself am 32 years old. And it's interesting to think that I was born out of the same ingredients that Space Ghost was born out of. Well, actually, I'm a couple months away from 33, where Space Ghost just turned 32. But still, we're still from that same era. We're from that same era. Man, and rest in peace to Greg Lowe, the legendary voice of Space Ghost. He passed away a couple years ago. And again, what I'm doing here, I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for Space Ghost. And I still, early. 15 episodes in, it's not necessarily at the beginning anymore. But as far as our journey and growth and monetization paths that we're going down, we're still early here. And it's kind of too early for me to say what has really worked or not worked or about this experiment that I call Let's Agree to Disagree Tonight. But I can say with certainty, none of this will be happening in the shape or form that it's happening and without the inspiration that I took from Space Ghost and the Space Ghost Coast to Coast show that used to air on Adult Swim. So one time for them, show the respects to the team that put together Space Ghost Coast to Coast. And, that lives on through me, your boy. That's how I take that name. I take that name, not given to me. I chose to take that. Mexico Johnson, a.k.a. Mexico Coast to Coast. Because I just want to remind y'all where it come from. If you've never seen Space Ghost before, part of me would hesitate to tell you to go watch it now because you kind of had to be there to understand it. It was a whole nother vibe. It's a whole nother era of late night TV that don't exist anymore. Except for here at Let's Agree to Disagree tonight. Trying to, at least. I got more work to do. Now, interesting, just like when I saw that, I guess the algorithm picked up on the fact that I thought that was cool or thought that was interesting, because then there's a bunch more like TV anniversaries that came up, and this is kind of random and off topic now, but man, just like all of these interesting things was happening on April 15th. 36 years ago, April 15th, that was the debut of Living Color, In Living Color, legendary sketch TV television show. Definitely take some inspiration from there. 20 years ago, the Bernie Mac show aired its season finale. It ended 20 years ago. That's crazy. Like, the show ended 20 years ago. I mean, it started even longer ago before that. All That, another legendary 90s television programming that sticks with me. All That premiered 32 years ago today. That was also on April 15th. Man, something was in the air. Something is special about that April 15th time frame where people like to launch new TV shows, I guess. All right. So, let me check our time. How we doing on time here? We just rolling and vibing now. We're about 30 minutes in. That's what's up. After about 30 minutes of this, I do like to think about where we can kind of shift gears and get into the next thing, because I don't want to stay here too long. So, I think we're going to go ahead and switch gears, and I'm going to get ready to drop the commercial break. And when we come back from commercial, we can get into the resonance report for this week. I got a good one lined up for y'all, and we're going to see how that go here in just a few. Then how about it? Let's get those commercials rolling.
In an increasingly complex world, people are finding new ways to stay balanced. Personal cloud is now part of the environment. Available everywhere, the future is already happening.
Personal Cloud helps you retrieve what matters. For access, contact your IT department. Availability subject to reality.
Trash tape. Tremendous resilience affects stupid humans.
What kind of name is that? Doesn't matter.
You seen this?
I'm trying not to.
The trash tape. Available in dumpsters everywhere.
Welcome back to Let's Agree to Disagree tonight. Signal is locked. Let's continue.
Thank you, Cosmo. Appreciate you, my boy. Help me get back into the game here. Cosmo, how you feeling on that, man? Like, what's really on your mind? How you feeling? What you thinking about?
Style not found.
All right, we're going to have to get you some new styles there, my boy. All right. Well, we have made it to my new favorite part of the show. This is a segment that we like to call the Resonance Report. All right. This is the Resonance Report, your weekly briefing on the tools, tremors, and tectonic shifts moving through the AI age. First up, OpenAI dropped GPT 5.4 Cyber. OpenAI unveiled a security-tuned version of its flagship model aimed at defensive cybersecurity work, which is corporate America's way of saying, please let the robot patch the holes before the other robot finds them. The bigger signal is that frontier AI is now being productized in narrower, high-stakes lanes, not just as one giant chatbot blob. Number 2, Anthropic's Mythos has regulators and bankers sweating through their blazers. Across Europe, banking authorities are reportedly probing the risks around Anthropic's newest model because experts fear it could supercharge complex cyber attacks. That means the AI arms race has officially graduated from cool demo to central bankers saying, hey, maybe let's not summon this thing without a fire extinguisher. Story number 3. Adobe launched an AI assistant across its creative tools. Adobe rolled out a cross-suite assistant for photo, video, and design workflows and says it will work with Anthropic's Claude. Translation, the creative stack is becoming less open 5 apps and cry about it, and more describe the bit, then refine the output. Story number 4. The compute land grab keeps getting wilder. Jane Street signed a roughly $6 billion AI cloud deal with CoreWeave just days after other massive capacity agreements, showing that GPUs are still the sacred cattle of this era. If you were wondering whether the AI boom was cooling, the answer is no. It is simply buying more server racks. Story number 5. Meta got checked by Europe over WhatsApp AI access. The European Commission warned Meta that charging access fees affecting rival AI assistants on WhatsApp may breach antitrust rules and move toward a rollback. The political signal here is clear. Governments are no longer just regulating content. They are starting to regulate who gets to sit at the AI gate. Story number 6. Big Tech's AI appetite is now reshaping energy policy. Major tech firms are putting serious financial weight behind next-generation nuclear projects to feed data center demand. AI is no longer just a software story. It is now a power grid story, which is somehow both very futuristic and deeply old-fashioned. Here's our last story for the day. Hey, what up, though? Big Black, I see you there in the chat. What up, though? Unc, I see you. Appreciate you coming through. Last story for the day I got here for you. OpenAI's valuation glow is meeting real scrutiny. Reporters say some investors are questioning OpenAI's massive valuation and strategic direction as competition tightens and enterprise pressure rises. In other words, even in the temple of machine prophecy, somebody still has to ask whether the numbers make sense. Now, why this matters? The signal this week is not that AI is just getting more specialized, more regulated, and much more infrastructural for Let's Agree to Disagree tonight. That means the conversation is no longer just what can the model do, but who controls it, who powers it, and who gets locked out. And what happens when these tools move from novelty into finance, media, security, and daily creative work. Here's what we watch for next. Keep an eye on 3 things. First, whether cyber-focused models trigger new rules or access limits. Second, whether antitrust fights start treating AI assistants like platform utilities. And third, whether the real bottleneck becomes not chips or talent, but electricity. The gods of silicon may be loud, but the grid still has veto power. That has been this week's version of the Resonance Report. Alrighty. See, we got a few people in the chat now. I see y'all there. What's up? What up, though? A few people on the YouTube side. I got a couple people on the TikTok side. So what's up? Again, we about to make this push now to really start growing this channel. growing this page, start growing this show. The first piece of that push here, like I said, I got the new email list for y'all. Y'all going to find the link to my new website where you guys can join the email list in the description below. Go ahead, make sure you click on that description and head over to that page. And after you get a chance to, here I can pull it up again. After you get a chance to check out the website and sign up for the email list again, make sure you go and play around the signal runner for me. I just lost. That whole time we was talking, it was just like sitting there drifting through space. I actually just lost. But again, Signal Runner is live. Signal Runner is real. And I'm telling you guys, if you're viewing the channel, viewing the show right now, I want you to know there are cheat codes and there are secrets hidden in Signal Runner. And if you can find those cheat codes and then you can find those secrets, I want you to let me know about it. I put some goodies in there for the people who, really enjoy video games, enjoy video game culture, enjoy video game history. There's some stuff in there that y'all gonna enjoy. For everybody else, it's just a little stupid game that you can scroll past. And then if you keep scrolling here, like I said, it'll show you like my most recent episode at the bottom of the page here. But other than that, yes, I do want y'all to go to the link, and I do want y'all to submit the email so you can enter the system and be a part of what we're building here. The next versions of Let's Agree to Disagree Tonight and this company that I'm building are going to be very exciting. I'm excited to bring that to you guys. These ideas that have been rolling around in my head for years now, being in a position to actually manifest and materialize those ideas. I'm excited to see what comes next here. Well, looking at the clock here, we're just about getting ready to pass the 40-minute mark. I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up there. Again, going into the show, I didn't even really know what I really wanted to talk about tonight. Just getting into the thing about the warehouses burning down. I do think that gave us an interesting lane to kind of talk about what's current and what's going on right now, what the people are feeling right now. Right now, the people feeling like we ain't being paid enough. Here we are in April of 2026. That's the main. Let Cosmo jam. I got something. Let me see. I can let Cosmo do a quick hit. Cosmo ain't complaining about how much I pay him. Cosmo, hit a little something.
Uncertainty detected.
I mean, yeah, there is some uncertainty in this future that we quickly finding ourselves speeding within. I think I got one more Cosmo here. Cosmo, you got one more for him? That was a little something. I mean, I feel you on the uncertainty, but let's see. Get him with one more.
Purpose is a pattern humans choose and then refuse to measure.
Okay. I'm gonna set Cosmo up to do some more stuff too. Like I got Cosmo doing like his little intro segments and stuff. But it would be cool for Cosmo to have like his own segment on the show or something. I think I bet Cosmo would like that. All right. Episode 15. It is a thing. It exists now. It is outside of my brain and into the real world. I hope y'all enjoy it. I'm still tightening this thing up. I'm gonna try to come back bigger and better for an even better episode 16. That's the plan. That's the goal. I think, I had to do a lot of infrastructure this week. A lot of infrastructure work this past week, so I didn't get to do a lot of like the creative show design work. But I'm not making an excuse. I'm just letting y'all know it's more to do and more to see. So I hope y'all tune in with us next week. If we get ready to get up out of here, I'm going to do my little outro. First off, fuck you and don't shake my hand. I just got some shit I like saying. Shout out to my boy Rick. All right. Well, second season is about refining your game. Yeah, I mean, if you paying attention, if you really watching, I think I will hope that that's what my people who really watching me right now see, is that the boy is in there trying to refine it. For everybody else, I ain't really like pushing this out there as even like a finished product right now. But if you see what I'm on and you digging the vibes, I think that's what you should be able to pick up on right now, is that you watching the dude that's refining it and sharpening the sword in real time. And it's going to be exciting to see where we end up in the next few weeks. As I was saying, that's all we got time for tonight. When something breaks, it's easy to focus on the moment it happens. But sometimes the more important question is what built up before it. Because pressure doesn't just come from nowhere. And if people feel like they don't have a voice, they'll find something else that feels like leverage. In the meantime, the future is complicated. The signal is noisy and none of us are fully optimized. But I'm Mexico Johnson, and this has been Let's Agree to Disagree tonight. Until next transmission or the next time we cross paths in the algorithm. Good night. I like that theme song. I know I said I was closing the show out, but I still got some joint left, and I do like that theme song. I'm gonna let that joint rock one more time. If you don't like the theme song, you can turn this off. But for everybody else, I'm gonna let that theme song rock one more time. All right. That's going to do it for real this time. I'm about to shut this thing down, and I'll see y'all again next week.